Welcome to Six Pack Discussions, where Cody and Jared take on the biggest, most talked about headlines with logic, passion, and a six-pack of beer.
If you're listening, we challenge you to take an unbiased view of the world, because we know these conversations are complicated. So sit down, crack a beer, and welcome a new perspective.
Okay, guys, coming in with a new episode, Six Pack Discussions.
So today, we're going to be comparing credit cards, right? Amex, Visa, Discover,
You
Capital One.
must have misread it, Jared. We're going to be talking about visas, as in how do you travel to other countries? How's it work in America? How do you get a visa to work here in America?
So you know what's really embarrassing? And I will tell myself here, a little levity to the conversation. So, guys, I'm 31 years old today. About 4 years ago when I first started dating my now wife, but about 4 years ago when I started dating my girlfriend at the time, Brittany.
Yeah.
Her and her friend were planning a trip to Russia. Actually, they were going to go explore that and everything. I'll look at the the Russian architecture and shit like that. And anyway, so we're going back and forth. We're in that little cutesy dating phase. You've been there, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I'm trying to get everything ready for my visa." I was like, "Oh, you don't have a visa yet?" She goes, "No, there's a couple pieces of paperwork." I was like, "It's pretty easy to get accepted." And mind you, at the time, I'm 27, 26, 27.
Go down to your Chase Bank and you probably get one within the day.
Yeah.
That's what you were thinking.
And that's not what I was thinking. That's what I knew. I was like, I was actually judging her. Because man,
one.
I'm dating a chick that doesn't have a visa. I've had a visa since I was 18.
Meanwhile, you didn't even know how visas worked for getting one for other countries.
Correct.
So she's actually now she's judging you.
Yep, that I'm that stupid. And it was so laughable. Prime example you just did. And I was like, man, I feel like an idiot.
Damn.
Because in my head, so I knew Visa had to do with traveling, right? I just didn't know the intricacies and the different types of visas, if you will, right? Because the reason why I equate it to the credit card is, you have to be clearly financially responsible, and is kind of the gold standard, if you will, to travel. Everyone across the world recognize visas as a method of payment. You can only be accepted in a visa if you're a competent adult.
You actually thought they were one and the same?
Swear to God. 4 years ago.
Holy shit.
Yep.
So this research was a little eye-opening for you.
Well, 4 years ago was eye-opening, and then yes, this research obviously, compounded.
Okay, well that's hilarious. I can't believe that you never even knew a visa was something like a passport item.
Again, I will tell myself I'm not proud.
Love it.
Mean it though. That is not a joke. That is an honest, embarrassing story.
Well, before we get started, nice little story from Jared. We are drinking 805 Cerveza. So actually a little spin off the classic 805 IPA. I don't think, Jared, have you ever had this?
Dude, I love 805 Cerveza.
Oh, really?
It's one of my favorite brews.
Oh my gosh.
So I love 805.
I know.
And then all of a sudden I stumbled upon 805 Cerveza about a year ago.
Okay. So I've never seen this. And I picked it up because I was thinking, man, I'm going to surprise Jared and see if he even knows about Cerveza by 805. Yeah. So we'll give you guys a rating here. Jared kind of already did when he said the word love. We already know what that means. It's like.
I definitely double tapped the picture. You know what I mean?
Damn. Okay. So Visa's not the one in your wallet.
Nope.
But the one that is in your passport. I'll be frank. I probably knew little to none about visas. I think the only thing I really knew about it is that a lot of people use visas to visit America. I don't know how often Americans use visas to visit other countries, because in most cases, you're not immigrating to other countries if you're already in America. Most of the time, people are immigrating to America.
But you're not only using visas for immigration reasons, you're using it for business.
Yep.
And you're using it for leisure.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
No, I'm sure there are some people that...
So, prime example, Britt and her friend Raina going to Russia.
Yeah.
They needed a visa for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
100%.
One thing that was unclear to me and still, so I've been to Europe, a couple times now. What is the difference between a visa and a passport?
So visas are for a longer period of time, and also certain countries require a visa, no matter going in. So I think what we have is a good relationship with multiple countries. So if you wanted to visit, I think the UK, Mexico, Canada, you don't need a visa. You just use your passport, and as long as it's less than, I think, 30 days, you're fine.
Yeah, so different countries have it between 30, 60, and 90.
Yeah.
That's kind of thing. You know what I find funny is so China and Taiwan, it's obviously contentious. Is that the word I'm looking
To say
for?
it lightly, yeah.
Just say it lightly. Thank you.
I think I just saw in the news this morning. Did you see that?
That Taiwan
30
is
or 40 aircraft, Chinese aircraft, were flying over Taiwan.
right. But did you see Taiwan's response this morning? So they actually increased their mandatory military service from 6 months to a year as of today in response to that.
So here's the weird thing about, we should do one on this, but let's add it to the episode list.
That'd be
Do you have
interesting.
your phone? Yeah. Or do you have your phone or no? I can't use mine, unfortunately, but add it to the list. But we should do one on the Taiwan situation and like what are the options for the U.S. One thing I did research a while back, and it's kind of weird in a roundabout way. We have to kind of defend Taiwan because we don't have a treaty with Taiwan really, but we have a treaty with Japan, and Japan has a treaty with Taiwan. So isn't that kind of weird how that works? So essentially, if Taiwan engages in any type of conflict with China,
We would be obligated.
Japan is obligated to help Taiwan, and if Japan is in conflict directly with China now because we're now obligated. How funky is that?
So,
Talk about your friend's friend.
well, I get it, but you know what's so funny? And this is a weird way of looking at things. Whenever you get in a fight with another guy and you guys just kick each other's ass and then you're friends afterwards.
I think that is more common than not.
You know what I find weird is you and I can only think of one legitimate fight to where I was literally angry with you. I can only think of one in our 20 plus years of friendship.
Yeah. And I don't think we've ever really physically fought other than
I've never struck you.
Well, there was that one time, but it was for fun. Remember out in the grass yard and you thought
Like
you were
wrestling.
Yeah.
So that was that wasn't
Sanctioned.
That wasn't out of anger.
No, it was a sanctioned.
That was literally the sport of wrestling.
Yeah,
That wasn't
yeah.
angry.
Yeah.
But there are certain friends out there that they just need to get a couple swings in.
And then all of a sudden that night, they're drinking beers.
And that's how we are with Japan.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they bombed us in 41.
Yeah.
We really bombed them twice in 45. 44?
44, 45, yeah.
I think it's 44. Whatever. Like, all right, bitch, this is the end. Do you want to continue?
Well-
oh, you want one more? Okay, done. Like, we dropped two, the only country, and we did it twice
Yeah.
to drop an atom bomb.
It just
So I
shows
find
how-
it so interesting. And guys, that was only 80 years. No,
That's a long time ago, though, if you think about it. 80 years ago.
that's a lifetime.
But that's,
Do you not know people that 80 years old? You know what I mean?
Everybody
That's
that
not
was of
that
age,
long.
But everybody of age at
That's
that point.
not that long.
No, but it's a full generation.
Agreed. That's irrefutable.
Yeah.
But it's not that long. To where now we're that tight, to where now we'd back up Japan's strong alliance.
I was watching something the other day. I think we have like 8 military bases in Japan, and they love it. There's something great. It's something I didn't realize how many military bases we have.
I know Okinawa.
Dude, we have a bunch. South Korea, we got a bunch.
I know South Korea.
Japan, we got a bunch.
8.
Dude, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
All I know is Okinawa, we have a strong presence from an Air Force standpoint. But
Dude, I was blown
Japan's not that
away.
big.
I was blown away. I was like,
Japan from a landmass, maybe I'm wrong, is not that big.
I think there's 120 something bases all across the globe, not on U.S. soil. When I read that, I was like, 120? That's crazy, right? But just give you a
Dude, you
Guantanamo
gotta understand,
Bay.
man, there's what, 200 countries in the world?
But some of them have 8 in one country. I guess South Korea, we have 5 or 6, and that's small. I think South Korea is the size of Maricopa.
Is it that small?
Dude,
landmass
it's
size?
small, bro.
No.
It's small. Okay, I'm not gonna say Maricopa. Let's say Arizona.
I can believe that. Okay, I can believe that. Okay.
I know it's small.
So anyways,
Visas, dude, we got so off.
Man, we have really screwed this up.
You want to go through the different types?
Dude, you know one of the ones that I find the funniest visa?
Go for it.
K1.
K1.
So the K1 visa, guys, I don't know if you guys know this. I messed up.
You've had a K1 visa before.
Yeah. This was right whenever I first started my current company about 3-ish years ago now. Just started traveling for work. And I'm at this hotel and guys, if you ever travel work, you know, sometimes you have to travel across the country, you get in late, it sucks, you have to take a shower, whatever the case may be, right? So you just kind of turn on the TV and you're getting ready for bed, you're unpacking and showering and brushing teeth, all that shit, and kind of a new space, and you don't know what the channels. So you turn on the TV, just starts some noise in the background. And anyways, so this was about 3-ish years ago.
Okay.
Flip on the TV, and it just happened to be on TLC. And TLC has a show called 90 Day Fiancé. 90 Day Fiancé is essentially the K1 visa process to where, you know, Cody proposes to Helga. Helga is in Ukraine, and Cody can't get a chick in America because he has no game. So then he proposes to Helga, and the K1 visa process, they're granted, and they have 90 days to get married in U.S. From the day they land in the U.S., you have 90 days
and then once you get
to
married,
say I do.
You are a citizen.
That is correct. That's correct. Thank you.
And then usually there's a divorce that occurs.
Have you ever? Oh, shortly thereafter. I actually looked at the stats, and I can't. It's actually wildly underpublished, the stats on K1 visas.
Ooh, why?
I don't know why. I'm not going to go into that.
Huh.
All I know is I looked, and admittance of guilt. You know, this is the second admittance of guilt. I guess this episode, as far as me thinking that
I'm sure I feel like a psychologist.
Amex, Discover, and Visa are all one and the same for traveling like an idiot. I'm not proud. Have you ever watched 90 Day Fiancé by chance?
No.
Any minutes of it? Do you even know the concept of it?
I've never even seen it. Yeah,
It's like a
it.
train wreck. I started watching it show on accident that night, and I watched the following 3 episodes.
They play 3 of them at the same time?
Back to back. Because
no one cares.
Well, yeah, it's TLC. Who the hell else watches that?
They watched, there was 4 episodes, and it was 30-minute episodes, so 2 hours of your life?
I don't want to talk about it.
Holy shit.
I can't stop watching it.
You still watch it to this day?
To this day.
No.
I swear. Brittany judges me to no end.
This is why people laugh at us.
Brittany judges me to no end.
People laugh at our friendship. They're like, hey, you guys probably know everything about each other, right? We've been friends for 25 years.
Yep.
And I find this out, and I'm disgusted with you.
You should be.
I am disgusted. That's what they call trash TV, I think.
Agreed. I'm not proud of admitting this.
So you have to like stay up on it.
Yeah, I know all the current characters.
Oh my God, there's like characters.
Well, I say characters mean there is a new season towards these new.
Oh, do people go to like a house? It's like a Jersey Shore.
Trash reality TV. So there's these new men that seek out external relationships with Ukrainian women, Iranian women, all these, foreigners. And they bring them to America and they just illustrate and televise their life about all the things that they're not aligned. Some of these couples that are engaged don't even speak the same language. They just verbally do this to each other. Like,
who do you think is worse in that setup? Do you think?
The Americans. I think it's so wrong, the visa process.
No.
I'm sorry.
The male, female, the individual. I get the process that's horrible. We shouldn't even have that.
Who do I think is wrong?
Yeah. Well, not wrong. Who do you think is more troubled? The person that kind of abuses this entire process, takes advantage of somebody that is clearly in a very low spot, that they are looking to have a relationship with somebody that they've never met personally from some other country that they can't communicate with. So that person, that's normally a female, I would assume, in this show. Or the male that gets to such a low spot that they subscribe to a mail order bride. Who do you think's worse?
The question is, who do I think is worse? I think 100% chance the American is worse. Because I honestly, so unfortunately, this is embarrassing. In the show, they do a little backstory on the and I say girl, but the foreigner, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
in
I'm
most
misusing
cases
that.
a female.
Yeah, it is. 9 times out of 10, it's the female that's the foreigner. And they do a little backstory. And dude, so this show is trash TV to the nth degree. You're right.
Exactly.
And I deserve every comment that's about to be made from me for the next 25 years of our friendship about the show.
What's it called again?
90 Day Fiance. But you get such a richer, deeper appreciation.
Got Siri talking to us.
Sorry,
here.
Siri. You get a deeper, richer appreciation. Oh, dude, Siri, I'm trying to have a podcast here. Sorry, guys. For how we have it in America.
Oh, yeah. No.
It, from a cleanliness standpoint, from an opportunity standpoint, from a family structure standpoint, earnings potential standpoint, literally all facets of life. We have such a greater opportunity, and it angers me. And guys, I understand I am abnormally patriotic, and I think you are too. I know you are too, Cody. And I think a lot of our listeners are, just based on how we fall on various situations. But guys, does America do it perfectly? Hell no. Not going to say we will. And I don't think you would either, Cody.
Oh, no.
And I hope over the last year plus of this podcast, we've highlighted the intricacies and the difficulties
of doing perfect. It's impossible.
Of doing perfect, of trying to do it perfect, and trying to do it better.
Yeah.
Right? Or at least shedding light on both sides. But anyways, this is a very long story, unnecessarily long, rather. And what I'm trying to glean at here is the people that are at fault are the Americans that are abusing a flawed system and a flawed situation and claiming that they love and want to marry a person that, guys, you ask any.
So real quick, that's why I was pushing back actually a little bit, because just think of this. This is an American that's at a point in their life where they believe that this person from another country that has never met them actually loves them. Mm-hmm. Do you think maybe that person might have some certain capacities that are not working properly? If they actually
mentally unstable?
Yeah, like if they actually believe that this person, in your example, Helga, loves them so much that they're going to marry them within 90 days.
90 days.
Don't you think that person may not be right 100%? Maybe they're not like in the right state of mind?
100%.
Okay, so now I don't think, Americans are taking advantage. Just these individuals that are saying, hey, maybe this is my only route to true love. Like someone in that point of view might be so low.
So, I want to take it full circle here. So you and I view this Cody and Helga situation poorly, right? Because Cody is an underperformer. He's not living up to snuff. But being in the privileged society of just, regardless of race, religion, etc., being born an American, you are automatically afforded and awarded certain privileges in life on a global scale. So what I'm saying is, it's almost that 80-20 principle, right? That we all talk about. And what I mean by that, guys, is 20% of the population of any team is going to do 80% of the work.
Yeah.
So whenever you take America as a pie and 20% of Americans do 80% of the work and the other 80 do the other 20.
Yeah.
Right. Guys, good, bad, or indifferent, right, wrong, that's just how it is. Those are borderline foundationally irrefutable.
There's always hustlers on a team. If you were on a class project, you had somebody that just wanted.
There's always someone that does the table of contents.
Yeah, exactly. There's somebody that essentially does all the work. There's somebody that does a little bit of the work, and then there's somebody that shows up late and says, "Oh, I forgot about the project." Like that happens in high school. That happens in college. That happens in your job.
Real presentations.
100%.
So what I'm saying by that, while that is true, what I intended to mean from that little short story was our 80%, because of this privileged world that we live in, is other countries' top 20, right? So whenever you take a bottom performer and you put them up against toe-to-toe with another country that their top 20% isn't even our bottom 20%, just because of their government, their policies, their
Yeah,
you name it, right? So then these bottom performers can look like rock stars, and they take advantage of that, and they promise the the whole 9 yards. So I think that's the problem, is you're intentionally misleading people.
And I have little experience. Clearly you have a couple of years now of watching the show, so you have a lot of experience of seeing this. I'm sorry, dude.
Thank you for that. 3 years experience.
Yeah. So you've seen this live occurring on TV, it seems like. Maybe not the best, probably not the best case scenario, but it seems like you probably have the most experience. So I'll take your word for it.
This is so embarrassing.
I know.
I never thought I'd admit this to you.
So I finished off my first beer. We didn't get through all the visas. Let's go through the different ones. So far, we've only done the K1. K1. I'll go through a couple of them rapid fire with you. Let's go. But first, let's go ahead and talk about this beer.
Yep.
So I picked this up. I actually picked it up over at a gas station. So if it's at gas stations, a Circle K here in Arizona, it must be pretty common.
No. Dude, you traveled enough to know. Arizona gas stations are special.
Dude.
Arizona and Colorado gas stations are special.
You know what? I talk about it all the time. Whenever I go to the East Coast, I always tell people, I'm like, guys, I don't think you guys realize whenever they talk about, oh, well, we're going to go to a liquor store. I'm like, what's a liquor store? You're right. For all of our listeners that are out of the state, Arizona, and I think maybe a couple of southwestern states, maybe Colorado, maybe New Mexico is kind of like this, but Arizona specifically, our gas stations sometimes will have a beer fridge or a walk-in cooler.
Often.
More likely than not, when you go to...
It's the expectation.
Yeah. When you go to a gas station, you're probably able to grab one of 80 beers.
Probably.
80 different flavors.
Yep.
And it's not like it's always Budweiser and Coors Light. It's like they'll have probably maybe 20
craft brews
hanging out there. And so this one, of course, 805 is a bigger brand from Firestone Walker, but this is their Cerveza, which, us being, of course, in Arizona, I think Cerveza makes sense, of course, here. I think it just closer to the border. Cerveza means Mexican beer, essentially. I think it is a great brew. This is a great beer.
Dude, honestly, I'm a big fan of 805.
I think this is better than the 805. Is 805 normally an IPA?
805, I believe so.
Okay.
I just noticed that black label. I think it is.
Dude, I like, they say right here, Cerveza brewed with lime. 100%, it tastes like
a better Corona.
It tastes like a Corona Light, I would say. And it's a little bit more limey. It's good. It's really good. I'll give this a 4.0.
Ooh, I was going to go 4.1.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. 4.1, solid beer. This, like I said, this is one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. I've had it probably half a dozen times in my life. Every time I see it at Fry's, gas station, I am morally obligated to pick up a 6-pack.
You know what's funny is when you look at this beer, most Mexican beers, cervezas, right, do not come in like a brown bottle like this.
Nope, they're loud colors. They're clear bottles.
Yeah.
Lime colors,
Yellow,
very
clear.
loud colors. Reds, yellows,
the flavor
oranges,
you get out of this beer is it's very odd how marketing works, because when I opened this, I was not expecting that flavor to come out of that color bottle. Guys, just for everybody, and if you guys are watching this on YouTube, you can see that this is a brown bottle, which normally is more of like a darker beer in some cases. It just doesn't seem like the right, but it's fantastic coming out of this bottle. So 4.0 from me, 4.1 from you, recommended from everybody.
Solid drinking beer. All right, different types.
Yeah, let's go rapid fire real quick.
Hammered on the K1.
Yeah, damn.
So we got tourism visa.
I was going to go through what I call non-immigrant visas.
Let's go.
Which are tourism mostly, right? So these are called H visas, H1B, H1A, H2A, H2B. Those three, really. These are for folks that are professional academic field, that have a special expertise or a college degree, and they're going to essentially fill a role or a job in the U.S. for a short period of time. So we actually have a lot of these individuals at our office. So we have a lot of H-1B visa holders. These are essentially people from high tech areas that come into the United States for usually, I think it's a 3-year term to work in the United States, to gain expertise, to gain experience. And then in most cases, they go back to their country of origin. H-2A and H-2B, these are interesting. These are actually the most common visas, I believe. I don't know if you ever noticed this. We have a lot of these type of workers in Arizona. These are seasonal, peak load temporary workers in agricultural and non-agricultural. So California, Arizona, the Southwest, the Southeast, a lot of visa holders will be in the H-2A, H-2B categories, mainly due to agricultural. I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of our farming is done with immigrants from Central America, Mexico, things like that. They come over and they spend usually about a month or two earning wages in America on one of these visas, and then they return back with those wages to their home or host country. And then we have a bunch of different, what they call immigrant visas. These are EB style visas. This one's a funny one. And I'm guessing you have heard about this kind of through the grapevine, but think of like the Olympics. Think of any time that athletes, probably, let's say Tom Cruise when he's filming in South Africa for a new movie, whatever it may be. This is called an EB1. This is for somebody with extraordinary ability, business professional, academics, researchers, scientists, arts, athletics. They're able to get this visa and get it quickly and show up and stay in that host country for several months. So if you think of the Olympics, they're probably getting these EB1s, if they're coming here and we're hosting the Olympics. And I'm guessing every country has something similar.
Of course.
But they call it extraordinary ability. Kind of funny, huh? And it goes down. I'm not going to go through every one of these, but essentially EB1, EB2, EB, and then 3, 4, 5 I wanted to go over, which is the craziest one that I found. So EB5, this is called the Immigrant Investor Program. And I actually knew a little bit about this for other countries, Grand Cayman.
I'll say, because you've talked about the Grand Cayman real estate.
Yeah. So we have one. And so what this one is for immigrants that would like to immigrate to the U.S. and they have a lot of cash. It's a little easier, I guess, apparently, in the U.S. system. If you have a little bit of cash, you're able to, if you can make an investment of $1.8 million US in a new commercial enterprise that employs at least 10 full-time U.S. workers, you can get an EB5 visa. So right about $2 million. So you come into the U.S., $2 million, create an LLC, hire 10 people. I'm sure there's a time frame, but that's interesting because if you're, pretty well off, that sounds like a pretty easy way to immigrate to the U.S. Honestly, if you're in China, if you're in India, if you're in Ukraine,
Malaysia, yeah,
wherever you are coming from, that seems like an easy,
Iran.
yeah, $2 million. Let's see. One other one that I wanted to go over for everybody is what I was actually most aware of is F1 visas. So when I was in college, you probably didn't see as many of these when you were in college, but ASU, where I went to school, we saw a lot of foreign exchange students.
Okay.
And I don't know if they're foreign exchange students. That means that you're exchanging American. No, just foreign students, I guess, is the right terminology. But we had a lot of students from China and India at ASU, like a huge population.
I would say USAFA probably less than 2%.
Mm-hmm. Smaller population.
We had a couple from Iraq.
Yeah.
A couple from Georgia. A couple from... I'm trying to think of my class. I know a couple Iraqis, a couple of Georgians.
Probably pretty minimal, like I said.
I would say less than 2%.
Yeah, a lot. Every one of my classes, probably 10 to 20% were
What?
Foreign students. Yeah, a lot of foreign.
20%. What countries?
Mostly India, China. India and China, dude. I had a lot of Indians and Chinese.
Now, is that specific to ASU, or does that think state universities across the globe?
ASU has a high foreign student ratio.
Why?
Probably because it's highly accessible, good weather. I don't know, dude. Like ASU is kind of like it's a highly desirable college to go to because it's
Strong business program.
yeah. That was what I was in. Right, I was in the business program there, and there was a lot of students. But in the sciences, they have a pretty big science program too.
Well, that's one thing that's really funny about ASU is the undergrad is oftentimes mocked, right? Because of the Playboy magazine, with the party school. But WP Carey, their business school, is top 10 year in and year out in the country.
Yeah, I think their engineering school is really high ranked too. So they have an
Ooh,
engineering
I don't know about the engineering school. I know I can speak to WP Carey. Like, without a doubt, irrefutable, regardless of publication, WP Carey is top 10 year in year.
So,
but I didn't know about the engineering. What other programs would you say it's known for? I know Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yeah, so I'm pretty
Right.
sure
He's kind of put that on the map.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Fulton Engineering School is really highly ranked now, and that makes sense, right? You have a lot of Indian programmers that are coming here, and they're doing programming, and so their engineering school is really high.
So speaking of a ASU engineer, so I'm in Houston. I'm flying back for the holidays. This was for Thanksgiving holiday actually. So I'm at the airport.
Okay.
My wife and I were at the bar, Brittany, and having a beer. She's having a glass of prosecco, whatever the case may be, and. You know this, man. Dude, I will talk to this fucking wall, as will you, if you think there's a chance you'll get a response. So, Brittany and I, we've been traveling all day. We hate each other today, right? Because we've been traveling all day. It's a stressful time.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to start a conversation with someone else. Right? Yeah. And anyway, so I'm talking to this individual, and I was like, oh, where are you going?
Where are you going? What do you
do? He goes, oh, well, I'm going to India. I was like, oh, it's in Houston. I was like, well, that's kind of unique.
Yeah.
I was like, where are you coming from? He goes, oh, Phoenix. I was like, oh, that's where I'm going too.
Oh.
He goes, well, what part of Phoenix? I was like, Chandler. He goes, oh, me too.
Oh, wow.
I was like, well, what part? He goes, kind of like, by the Chandler Municipal Airport. I was like, I live a 9-hour away from the Chandler Municipal Airport. He goes, what
neighborhood?
What community? I was like, Javier. He goes, east or west? I was like, east. Guy's my fucking neighbor, dude.
I think I met him.
5 houses down.
I met that guy when I was over there doing pavers with you. Remember? He was the guy that wanted the wheelbarrow.
Yes.
100% it was him.
So this guy, some highly educated individual.
Intel or something, right? Yeah.
Shocker. Works at Intel.
Yep.
Nothing against Intel, but they pay really well, right?
Yeah.
This guy was 5 houses down from me.
How funny.
And I met him in Houston.
This is so crazy.
Houston, Texas.
Just for our listeners, how...
At a bar.
Jared, you started that conversation is that me and you will both talk to a wall, right? I have the exact same story, which is even weirder.
Let's hear it.
So, went to a conference. That our team kind of went out. We went to bars, kind of bar hopped a little bit later at night. And there was like another group. A couple of them looked like they were at the Marine base there. In
San Diego.
Yeah. And I started chatting with them. There was 2 guys that were Marines, 2 of their buddies that were not, and then 2 girls. And we were playing some like bar games and stuff. And I was chatting with one of the chicks. Or actually, I was chatting with the guy first, and he said he was from, I think, either India or Nepal. I think it was actually Nepal. It was kind of interesting because he said Nepal, and I was like, oh, I know where Nepal is. Not many people know where that is, right? And I'm like, oh, by India. He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, cool. He's like, yeah, I'm from there. I'm actually going back home. I was just visiting because I went to college here. I was like, oh, cool. And then I asked the girl that was right next to him. They weren't together or anything.
Was I with you at this conference?
No. Oh, you were, but you weren't out this night. And so I asked the girl, I was like, oh, okay, where are you from? She's like, I don't feel comfortable telling you. I was like, oh, that's weird. Okay, no worries. I was like, well, I'm from Arizona. She's like, oh, I'm from Arizona too. I'm like, okay, can I ask where you're from again then? Like, I'm kind of confused now because like you were appalled that I asked you where you're from. I was just trying to have a conversation. She's like, well, I'm from Chandler or Gilbert. And I was like, oh, that's where I live. She's like, well, now it's getting kind of weird. I was like, like, just so you know, like, I'm not stalking you. Like, I'm here for a conference. I'm kind of confused. I'm married. Like, clearly I'm wearing a ring. And she's like, well, where in Gilbert do you live? And I was like,
No, I don't feel like I'm asking you.
yeah, exactly. And she's like, where do you live in Gilbert? And I was like, I live on Higley and Germain. She's like, you live in Power Ranch? And I was like, yes. She's like, yeah, me too.
What?
she knew exactly where I lived, which is weird, right? Because I said Power Ranch. She said, I live in Power Ranch. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly where I live. She's like, that's weird. And I was like, yeah, that is weird. I'm like, why were you so confrontational at the beginning? She's like, I don't know. Just not having a good night.
I don't like her.
I know. I didn't like her either. That was how we ended the conversation.
And I hope the conversation ended. Yeah.
But it's funny because we both had the same thing. We both found somebody that lived in the same neighborhood. And that was 5 months ago for me. Yours was a month ago. Yeah.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
Okay, back to visas.
First and foremost, guys, Merry Christmas. I know this is going to air a few weeks later, but guys, I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas, very happy holiday season.
Yeah.
Obviously, very stressful. Cody and I are very fortunate to where we enjoy the time that we spend with family, friends, etc. A lot of celebrations, a lot of fun times. I know it's a stressful time, guys. Stress is temporary. So, guys, I just hate the statistics that back up suicide, breakups, etc. As all this stuff is very, very temporary. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your time off. Enjoy the grind. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Is there a higher rate of depression on the holidays?
Oh, dude, you don't know this?
Uh-uh.
Dude, the amount of suicide that goes up. Obviously, I'm very, unfortunately, keen on the veteran suicide. Right, on average, we
have a higher rate.
Average 22 a day of veterans that commit suicide.
Yeah,
it's horrible. During the holiday season after Thanksgiving, it jumps up to like 30, 35
a day. Veterans specifically,
because what happens around the holidays, it's only presumed, right? Is people start feeling a bit lonelier, a little bit more isolated, and they just can't cope with their feelings, good, bad, or indifferent. These are just statistics, right? So 22 a day. Like normally is what it averages out to be over the year. But over the holiday season, it jumps up to 30, 35. Horrible. So I can only assume.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I can only assume it's. Well, have you never heard about the 22 a day push-up challenge?
Yeah.
So it's bringing awareness to veteran suicide.
I knew that veterans were a higher rate. I just didn't know during the holidays it was higher.
It's higher amongst all people.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense.
I mean, you feel isolated, you feel alone, you feel.
I bet you the weather too plays a little bit of effect. It's darker.
Sure.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
So, anyways, guys, I promise you it's not that bad. You know you can reach out to your guys to back discussions.
You can reach out to us. We'll have a discussion with you.
I'll talk about anything as a quality. So, anyways, guys, happy holidays. I hope you enjoyed your time. If you didn't, you got two guys you can call on.
100%. Okay, visas, man. So
visas
went through a bunch of different types. Most time they're going to be divided into either immigrant or non-immigrant. Immigrant, meaning that you are here for a shorter period of time. Immigrant visas, though, are for folks that are going to kind of be in the workforce.
Work visas, right?
Exactly.
That's what it's layman term.
Yeah, and they're planning on kind of staying here. Like it's a green card essentially. It's essentially a visa.
Green card without voting.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's a visa, and what they consider a green card. It's a visa with the intent to become a citizen.
Right. So the difference between a visa, the foundational difference between an immigrant with a green card or a visa is the voting capability. Because as you and I both know with various shared coworkers, is there is almost a borderline celebration between once you transition from a green card to a citizen.
Oh yeah. Right? Huge celebration. So one thing I wanted to go over, and then we'll start kind of getting into our opinions and stuff around visas and how they work. And guys, I think this one's more just educational. There's a couple of opinions I think I have on it, but this may be a good idea to bring it up before we get into that part, is speed to visa. So it really depends on kind of what visa you're applying for. For example, a Canadian, which this is the fastest type of visa, apparently. It's called a TN or an L1 work visa. They can literally apply for the visa at the border as they're crossing the border in paper and get the visa upon entry. There's no waiting involved. This is a special relationship we have with Canada.
Canada.
So there's zero waiting for this.
Right.
So that kind of sets the standard there at 0 days, right? That's literally instantaneous. But a majority of the visas can normally take multiple weeks, if not months, due to processing steps that are involved, verifying your identity, verifying who you are. Do you remember by chance, with just visiting, say, Russia or another country, how long did Brittany have to apply for her visa before she could go there and visit?
So that's where I think U.S. citizens
Get a little extra bump.
extra bond, special privilege, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Like we're verifiable.
Because, exactly.
That makes sense.
Because, look, maybe this is very arrogant of my thought process and deduction of reasoning. Fault me, sue me, whatever. Very few people want to move out of America.
No, that's not fault of your opinion. That's true.
But you can see where that could piss some people off.
Well, you can just look at the numbers. We don't have what's that called? An export?
Yeah.
We don't have an export of people.
We don't have
an
a
import.
negative growth rate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you can see how that can
Yeah.
piss certain people off.
There's a reason people
shout
move
out,
here for
shout out
opportunity.
Canada listeners, right? To your point. What did you? How did you mispronounce earlier?
Oh, Canada.
Canada. Sorry. So Canada listeners, sorry guys. But anyways, all joking aside, everyone wants to come here for a reason, right? So I think we do get a little bit bumped. Like, oh, they're clearly going to be here temporarily.
Yeah, they're going to
Our
go
country
back.
sucks in comparison.
They're coming here to spend their money here.
As I say, let me push them guys to the top because they're going to spend US dollar and that shit.
It counts.
We may, go long on it, and we may borrow a lot from a government standpoint, but that shit cashes.
That's funny. Yeah. So if you were going to visit another country, it's like, okay, hey, we don't mind. You have a low terrorism rate, right? You're not going to be any type of terrorist, probably. You're very verifiable. And what I mean by that is, I think we take this for granted in America, but guys, some countries, they don't have birth certificates. Some countries don't have a social security program. So identifying individuals is actually somewhat complicated. Now, this is not a problem in the top 100 countries, but still, the bottom 100 countries, it is a little bit more challenging. And so we have a very easy verifiable person. If I want to know exactly if this is Jared Jones, he probably has 3 to 4 forms of identification to identify who he is.
Right.
So guess what? If you wanted to go get a visa in another country, they're like, okay, this is actually Jared Jones. So we have a low identity issue here. So that makes sense. So how you didn't answer a question. How fast was it for Brittany? A couple weeks?
Man, you're asking me. I would feel confident saying 2 weeks.
Okay. It's funny because a passport takes like 6 weeks here to get.
Non-expedited, 6 to 9 weeks.
No, expedited is fast. It's 2-3 weeks.
I thought expedited was 3 to 5. Non-expedited was 6 to 9. Whatever.
So I had to get one, but yeah. And I thought it was fast. But you're right. Normal process for a passport.
Yeah, because if you're baby moon, right?
Yes. Me and Anna both.
Because
got one.
Anna didn't change her name yet or something weird like that, right?
Yeah, I think her passport expired and she needed a new one with her new name. And mine was going to expire literally the month that we were going to be out of the country. And I was like, I don't want to have like an expiring passport just in case we got stuck there. Literally the week.
Because that was June of 2020.
No.
Ooh, am I wrong?
March 2020, buddy. COVID patient zero time.
Oh, I thought it was June of 20.
Dude, the Grand Cayman shut down the weekend we left and has not opened up for like a year and a half after we left.
Today, in late ending days of 22, can I go to Grand Cayman tomorrow?
I literally just got news that they opened up. I think it was like 3 or 4 months ago. They were not allowing U.S. citizens still there until like 3 or 4 months ago.
Would you go again?
Oh, yeah, I would. I wouldn't go longer than we went. It was really cool, but it's very small. Very small. It was super cheap. Remember, I bought tickets like COVID.
Did you have to do a visa or did you just do a passport?
Passport.
So that's where I'm really, let's call it dumb, uneducated, whatever the case may be. Today, so Britt and I.
On your guys' honeymoon.
Yeah, we went to St. Lucia, did our passport. But also in between Britt's undergrad and graduate, I think I actually know you know this. She actually lived in Germany for a couple of years in between her degrees.
I don't know, pair. That was
Correct.
one of the visas I found.
So actually, our main vacation, our fun vacation that we're doing here in Memorial Day weekend of next year is we're gonna go to London and London for fun, Germany to show me around, like, you know, the farmers market and shit that she used to do and she used to love, to share that part of her life with me.
You probably don't need a visa for London, but maybe for Germany.
We don't either.
Oh, okay, cool. But she did.
That because she was staying for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
And that's where it's hard for me, and maybe I'm dumb. I don't think I am. Maybe I am. I don't know. Where is the information readily available? Because I have a passport. So in my myopic view, I can go where the fuck I want because I have a U.S. passport.
You know, when I was doing the research, that's where I was too. And I think, and I've never had
Grand Cayman. Did you even bother about it? Because you talked about a visa. I'm sorry, you talked about a passport, expediting it appropriately. And
Yeah. I wouldn't even think about a visa, right? I'm like, passport, stamp it, go.
Yep. This is an American passport. Am I redneck in thinking that?
I think I would say the vast majority of Americans would think if they have a passport in their home,
I can go where the hell I want.
I can go wherever the hell I want. As long as there's a flight or a ticket, I can go there. Now, here is where places have put some nice boundaries. Plane or airlines, because most people, when they go to other countries, they fly.
Yep.
In most cases, especially from America.
Yep.
So airlines actually, during the purchasing of a ticket, will notify you that you need a visa to go there. If you're staying longer because you have a beginning and an end to your trip date from your airline, right? You have a departure date and an arrival date, and then a departure date and an arrival date. So normally, if it's over a certain period of time, they're going to recommend a visa already for you, right? Or they're going to tell you, hey, make sure you have a passport. So the airlines kind of do this for us, which is nice, right? Because apparently we don't know this is a common thing. But I think the general rule of thumb for our listeners with, in regards to visas is, are you going to be earning wages in that other country? If you're going to be earning wages in the other country while you're there, visa is required, no matter what. Also, are you going to be staying there for an extended period of time? Visa required.
Extended period of time.
Let's say over 30 days.
Over 30 days.
I would say over 30 days. I would say that's where I would be starting to be kind of worried. Most people don't take vacations for more than 30 days.
I wish.
Right? So I think those are the two that I would kind of say is, hey, longer than 30 days, or will I be earning an income? This is how crazy this got. I wanted to do a little bit of a rabbit hole on this piece of research. Yeah. So what's becoming more and more common in the last 2 years from a workplace? Work from home. Well, there's a fair amount of workers in other countries that have started working from home, but have traveled to America living in like Airbnbs and things, and they're working from their laptop, working from home. Does that count? Do they require a work visa? And according to U.S. laws, perhaps. This is where it gets really leery, and they honestly could go to visa court. I don't know what it's called. But here is where the line has to be drawn. Does that business do any business with the United States? Do they sell to U.S. consumers at all?
And it's just no, then you don't need a visa.
Bingo.
Because again, to your point earlier, are funds being exchanged internationally?
Bingo. So if you are working for a company that sells bread, let's say, and you're their marketing person, and they sell bread at a local place in Italy. They only sell bread there. They don't buy any of their goods. Doesn't matter. And you're doing their marketing. You're doing some logo work or whatever here in the United States. Now, let's say you work for Bertolli, which sells pasta, and maybe it's made in Italy. They sell, of course, Bertolli in the United States. Nope. You cannot be doing that work here in U.S. soil. And the idea there is that you could be taking a job from a U.S. citizen.
And that's where expats come into play, right?
Bingo.
So, it's really funny. So I have actually a personal experience with this. And you didn't, you went to Hawaii for your honeymoon, right?
Yeah.
So, guys, I got married in January of 21, right? So shortly thereafter, our wedding, we, of course, went on our honeymoon. And we went to St. Lucia for our honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
And
Island in the Caribbean.
Correct. very, very, very south, 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 east, 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 right? Of the Caribbean.
Atlantic Ocean, pretty much.
Yeah. So anyways, my point of saying that is because this is January 21. This is right whenever people stop being afraid of their shadow.
It was still, I would say 80% still, 70%, depending on where you lived.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed. Fair point. Fair pushback. Obviously, Brittany and I felt a certain way, so we were willing to travel.
Yeah.
We took the precautions, wore the mask, and we weren't trying to be jackasses about traveling.
Well, it's also your wedding. Like, you only get to do this one time in your life.
Exactly. Right? So anyways, we're at the resort in St. Lucia, and, as normal in a resort, you kind of go to the lobby for various excursions, what's going on throughout the day, trying to have some, plan your day and make the most of every day. And guys, typically on Saturdays and Sundays, I naturally wake up at between 5 to 6 a.m. That's just what I normally do.
Yeah.
That's how my body's working. And I try not to be a dick. Don't always succeed. I try not to be an asshole about it and wake up Brittany at 5 to 6 a.m. because that's
You wake up, you like,
her body works. I do maybe a couple emails that I was a bum about during the week. Whatever the case may be.
you're on vacation, you're going down to the lobby, go check it out.
Exactly. During the honeymoon, I have a resort.
Yeah.
I have a resort. I have the world is my oyster. Yeah. I can do a fun paddleboard. Well, she's sleeping until, 6 or 7, whatever the case may be. Yeah. So in those 2 hours that I have to play, I'm in the lobby, seeing what my agenda is.
What we can do for the day.
My potential agenda is for the day. And all of a sudden I see people doing work because the Wi-Fi sucks in the rooms, but it's really good in the lobby. I'm seeing all these likely looking Americans, talking Americans in St. Lucia there in the lobby.
Speaking American.
Exactly.
Not
America.
English.
America. I was like, hey, you look from America. I'm kidding. and I was like, hey, what do you do? A lot of them sales and marketing, ironically enough. Yeah, I'm just working from home.
In St. Lucia. They're doing exactly what I was just saying.
And I was like, you do realize we're like 5 hours away or in front of Central Time. It's like, yeah, I'm in sales. Yeah, as am I. I'm on PTO.
It's like midnight at home.
And it's so funny. So I don't think you know this, but because I told you, Brittany, a very significant period of her time is actually in Germany. So our fun vacation of the year, we're taking a 9-night trip to Germany in Memorial Day. Thank you. I like to tell you. And Brittany and I would talk about it. It's very difficult for me, and I think you too, even as what you shared with me earlier today, you are currently on PTO in between Christmas and New Year's, but you still worked a couple hours a day. Yeah. It's very difficult for me to take off. So I was like, hey, babe, I will take this 9-night vacation, 10-day vacation. I get time difference. It'll be difficult for me to be plugged in. But while you're sleeping for that extra hour and a half, 2 hours that I'm awake and you're sleeping, I will probably be on email. And of course, it's fine. I think work-life balance, that's a different episode. But I think
that we've done before. We've done.
I think we can take it a little deeper.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think we could.
Okay.
But anyways, gosh, that was early Six Pack Discussions episode. I think. Yeah, that was probably like
mid.
Front 20, 30, whatever. But I guess my point was, I think the whole work from home, hey boss, I'm feeling sick. Hey boss, I'm gonna take a vacation. I think WFH has been taken advantage of over the last 3 years.
Is that work from home?
WFH.
Oh, 100%. Well, we already saw productivity in America for the very first time in history has actually decreased in the last 2 years.
And I get Elons of the world and the Jamie Dimons of the world are sons of bitches.
They're
because
the
of their
only
stances.
people that are forcing people back in the office.
Those are the two
Big
Fortune
ones.
500 CEOs, owners, etc., that are like, hey, cool, but you know what I mean?
I need people to do some work.
Right.
So back to visas, buddy.
Yep. Man, we have really not talked about the actual episode.
Yeah. Maybe this one was hard for us because maybe there's not really a huge opinion on it.
It's not.
But what I was trying to get to when I wrote this down, because I think I wrote this maybe down, and I was kind of thinking, how do visas work? Do they work well? Do they work bad? The only thing that I was kind of trying to derive out of this is the overstaying of visas. So did you do any research, or did you kind of think about people when they overstay their visas at all? The implications of this at all? Because apparently there's actually a very large amount of folks that overstay their visa. And I've even worked somewhere where like FBI agents have come to verify employment of individuals.
You've worked somewhere.
Yeah. And they've actually verified employment of an individual based on their visa because it was overdue. And so it's kind of an interesting thing because once you're here and you have a visa for 3 years, let's say you have a work visa for 3 years, who's checking that? Like who cares? If you, let's say you get a job at a mom and pop, like let's say a small business of 100 people. You're employed. You start there. Hey, just so you know, I'm a visa holder. I just graduated college. I'm going to apply for an H-1B visa. I'm going to work here, but I plan on going back home. Does that small business ever check? Do they ever care?
You know, we talked about this a little bit about small business in America. You know, we talked about paternity leave, I think is what I'm kind of gleaning towards. Because guys, you know, we often get mesmerized, fantasized, etc. about the Intels, the Northrop Grummans, the Amazons, the Googles, the Facebooks, or I guess Meta, whatever the case may be. You know, we get overly fantasized, the Carvanas.
Oh my gosh. What are they trading at, like $3 or something like that?
Is that high? That was like a
82
less than
cents?
$1, yeah.
Sorry, Arizona business.
Damn. A little too close to home. A lot of our old classmates.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Like 10 of them I know, I think.
They were touting on LinkedIn and Facebook. Oh my gosh, it's so nice to work at this company. I guess I tracked.
Poor guys.
Mm.
Dude, where are you going here? I was just saying, if they overstay, small business, what are you thinking here?
What I'm saying is, how hard is it? That's another task. Because guys, we get so disillusioned by these big ass companies that have layers on layers. They have managers to ensure that you wiped your ass correctly.
Oh,
right?
100%, yeah.
So now we're getting disillusioned, disenfranchised, whatever the case may be, by these massive companies with levels of leadership that you wouldn't even freaking fathom. But the majority of companies are these small businesses. Guys, we don't have the bandwidth, we don't have the time to check your freaking visa status.
Yeah, over and over and over again. Chair's got to take a piss here, it looks like. Okay, guys, we're back. We had to take a little break here. Jared could not hold the bladder. Bladder.
I'm a lot of things, and a bladder holder is not one of them.
So as we round off this episode, guys, real
what
quick.
do we do about visas? Is it broken?
Yeah, well, the only thing that I was thinking, we started this episode talking about something that was very broken, this K1 issue.
Oh, I think if I'm king for a day, cut.
Fiancés.
Cut.
Okay. What about the overstaying of visas? Is there any way to better manage that?
No. Because guys, you're like, oh, Jay, what the hell? What was the exact question you just asked?
I asked, what about overstaying of visas?
Yep. And then your secondary question, it was, is there any way we can better manage that?
Yeah,
fix it. I thought your word was better manage it.
Better manage it, fix it. So somebody.
And what does better manage be?
Yeah, so 3 years. Individual, an individual that's already in America, on American land, has a home here, is renting a home, whatever it may be, goes ahead and says, oh, damn, my visa just expired. I'm still working the same employer.
So
Do I go back to my host country that may suck or maybe normal, but whatever, but I'm already here. I
Not as
have a really
good.
good job. It's not as good. Or, I start applying for the citizenship thing. It takes a long time. So we have a lot of people, like millions of people have overstayed their visa and are now here, essentially doing all of the U.S. citizen stuff except for voting. How do we alter that? How do we fix it? I don't know if you have any ideas on that.
So I have a very different perspective. The heart in me wants to be like, Cody, abso-freaking-lutely. Do we need to better manage it? Do we need to put more onus on the employers for, employing certain people in these various jobs and overstaying the visas? Absolutely.
The heart in you?
The heart in me. But then the brain in me, and whenever I believe that's what I'm kind of keen in on is, the original question was, do we need to better manage? I think is your exact question. Okay. And what does that mean? That means overhead. That means adding more. Guys, we operate at a significant deficit. Yes, we are a first world country by a lot of measures, but we manage money horribly. We are, I think I last saw the debt over $30 trillion in a deficit. And we just passed a new spending bill of $1.7 trillion. And every dollar of those are supposedly already allocated. So now we need to better manage our visa process.
So you think there's a cost to it?
I don't think I know. Right?
Like
I guess maybe, are you anticipating this being a volunteer program? As far as managing the visas?
Well,
so my point is, of course, there's a cost to it.
Well,
I'm not willing to commit to the management aspect that is needed. I will admit is needed. But what are we asking to manage? Are we asking to manage an individual that's contributing to our economy? Are we asking an individual that's contributing to our workforce to be managed? So do I agree with overstaying your welcome, overstaying your visa? I would like it not to be the case. But if you're contributing to our economy, if you're contributing to our taxes, I think there's bigger fish to fry. So I do not agree with improving the management on our government process of visas.
So should every immigrant just go through the visa program then instead of applying for citizenship? Is it just a faster route then to stay here?
In my overgeneralized route, I would prefer that than the backdoor process that's currently being celebrated and endorsed with getting paid cash, not paying taxes, not contributing to the local economy.
But if you're an overstayed visa, do you have to pay taxes?
It's my understanding whenever you're on a visa, you're working for a reputable company, being paid appropriately, and therefore contributing to taxes. If I'm wrong, correct me, but that's my understanding.
Yeah, so real quick, I would imagine there are individuals that come here on a visa, work visa, work for a company, work for an individual, work for an owner, and then at the point of their visa expiring and maybe they're working for a larger employer that tags them, they may quit and become a 1099.
Yep.
Or start their own business, small business. I'm just wondering how that would, I think that's allowed.
Look, if I'm king for a day, I wish I could eradicate all fear, all problems, right? But I also have to prioritize my day. I have to also prioritize my problem.
Yeah.
I think this is so minuscule
Of an issue.
Of an issue of the problems that we're currently facing in America that I'm not going to waste one more breath on it. If you want to start your own company, and damn it, I hate that you came here illegally, but one of the essence of starting your own businesses is working for yourself, commanding your own hours, but also employing other people whether Americans or other visas or whatever the case may be. You're providing an American service. So damn it, I know you got around the loophole. You probably are breaking the law with the visa, but damn it, I also think we have so many more problems. So King for a Day, Jared, prioritizing my problems, prioritizing my day, prioritizing my issues.
This is issue number 20.
25.
Interesting.
What about you? You're King for a Day. You're King Willis. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, I like your point of view, man. I like it. I do like a lot of it. I was leaning on the side of looking for a solution for it. And I was thinking that you can't fix all of it. But during the tax process every year that companies have to go through, I just imagine there has to be a verification process because every employer has to pay employee payroll taxes. And so during that process, I just feel like if you're paying a tax on an employee, shouldn't there be a verification there of that employee being a citizen or a current visa holder?
So do you think...
Like the IRS knows.
Do you think every employee... How do I want to phrase this? Do you think every employee, there's an equal input and output?
No.
Agreed. So do you think certain aspects, certain faults, flaws, etc., are overlooked for certain employees?
100%.
Would you say that immigrants traditionally, overgeneralization here, would you say that immigrants have a higher work ethic than Americans to where they produce more than they're getting paid?
Yeah.
From American standards?
Yes. So
again, I want to put your business owner hat on.
I know this is...
If you're paying someone $50,000 a year, but they're producing at $60,000+ a year, you really want to check every box? That's what I'm saying. On my list of priorities, if I'm King for a Day, this is so far low. Do I think it's a problem? Yes, irrefutable. Are people overstaying their visas? Yes, undeniable. Is it on my top 25? I don't think so. Because immigrants, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to see it, guys, Americans, we're known for being fat and lazy on a global scale. It's embarrassing, actually. Those are our two leading qualities, what we're known for on a global scale. Immigrants outwork us 10 times over. You think you work hard? Go ask your friend from Russia or Mexico what their day looks like. They understand what working hard is. They understand what working hard for nothing is.
Yeah, you know, dude, you got good
and that's
points
where
there,
I'm at.
Yeah, no, I like.
Do I think it's a problem? Yes. Do I think we have bigger problems? Absolutely. And that's where I'm at.
You come here, you overstay your visa, maybe you're a student or something like that. You find a great job. You contribute highly. You pay your taxes. Honestly, you sound like an American citizen to me. Like
a better. I'll say a better American. Just because you were born here, I guess by letter of law, you are an American citizen.
But are you actually?
I'm sorry, a lot of the Americans.
I like where your head's at because you're almost like saying, hey, you're an American not because of the ground that you were born on. You're an American because of the type of ethics that you have and the work.
You embody Americanism rather than just being born with it and privileged with it. That's where I'm at.
Dude, you convinced me right now. I was trying to build an argument this entire time. And because I don't like laws being broken.
Neither do I.
And I don't like...
But you're also a priorities guy.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it's a priority. What you did is you built a really good case on what I think I would want to see from people that want to be here. if you're doing all of those things and the only reason you shouldn't be here is because of our immigration process, it's 3 years, not 5 years or 4 years or whatever. But then again, there's somebody right down the road that lives next to this visa, past due visa holder that might be actually taking unemployment. And
or
honestly,
welfare or whatever the case may be.
and kind of probably doing it in a way that is illegal. Born here in America. I would rather solve that problem. People that are bending the rules of unemployment, bending the rules of welfare, bending the rules of getting free money.
Your money.
Yes. Than attacking the immigrant that wants to work their ass off all day and is here and is the only thing they've done wrong is overstay their visa.
Agreed.
Dude, you got me.
And that's what makes me mad because, you know, I'm curious. You're a lot more well-read than I am. Cody, I'll admit that. In that, as far as, not necessarily the pastime, but the yesteryear of America, what we were known for during the Industrial Revolutionary time frame.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Changing the game. We were known for shaking some shit up.
Oh, yeah.
In layman's terms. Let's call it what it is, right?
The last 100 years, American essentialism, or essentialism, right? Or what's the right
But in the last 50 years, we're known for being lazy and overweight.
I think, yeah, we've really, unfortunately.
Overgeneralization, potentially.
Yeah.
Oversimplification, generally.
We're resting on our laurels right now.
But a lot of fatness and a lot of laziness has defined America over the last 50 years. Because, guys, good, bad, and different, hard times
Pretty soft
make
people.
hard men. Hard men create easy times. Easy times create soft men. Soft men create hard times. It's a cycle. And guys and girls, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but that's just the saying. Or the proverb, phrase, whatever you want to call it.
Proverb is an interesting thing, right?
Right
Okay.
now, we've had a lot of easy times. And I think in the
future, we're going to have some hard times.
we are going to have some hard times because we got some soft men and women. Oh, my gosh.
Have you seen the,
Holy shit.
As
I don't
we
want to
end
see it.
as we end this thing right now,
I don't even know what you're saying right now. I don't want to see it.
have you seen this video of like a Starbucks employee,
Which one?
like freaking out? I don't know if it was on TikTok or not, but it made the news. That's how big it was. So it was on like CNN, and he's like crying, like on his Starbucks apron and everything, about how unfair it is that he had to work 8 hours, and how busy and how many people, how many customers came in that day. And he was crying, and he said, "This is just not fair that I'm treated this way." And I'm thinking right now, I'm like, there is some guy right now that is digging a hole in the middle of Africa looking for one little bit of diamond, one little bit of lithium.
Water.
Fucking water. That's his job. Every day he digs holes for 12 hours a day in sand. And you're complaining that you had to help 200 customers in a retail store where you get paid $15 an hour with benefits.
Air conditioning and heating.
Yeah. I'm like,
Probably an hour lunch.
so to your point, yes, we are in a soft time.
And that's why I'm scared. And that's why, do I think this is a problem? Yes. Do I think this is also a benefit of America? Also, yes. And that's where I'm conflicted. And this is one of the rare instances where I know a law is being clearly broken, but I'm also clearly okay with it too. And that's where I struggle.
Yeah, it honestly might be helping America fend off the weakness the immigrants are. I think I've mentioned in the past, the immigrants are the only reason that we're not having a population collapse here. Okay, let's go.
Hey, guys, I know this was a little bit different podcast than normal as far as less informational, a little more storytelling. This wasn't intentionally controversial. I think Cody and I did have differing opinions on this one, but I think we ended a line, right?
Dude, you convinced me 100%.
Because all this was intended to open your eyes. One, tell you that there's other cards out there, American Express, Discover. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. This was intended to illustrate the different types of visas out there and potentially the problems, but intentionally the
Upside.
the solutions that overstaying a visa welcomes.
Later, guys.
Thank you for all listening.
See ya.
Bye.